So welcome to October's intermediate sample here at Close to Home in Southington. Make sure that you bring in your completed September block between this Friday, October 7th, and November 30th to receive your October kit free. Also, please remember to sign up for classes on our website at www.closetohomestores.com. I'd like to introduce the block for this month. We are doing a lot of half square triangles. We will not be using thangles. Instead, we're going to be using our folded corner clipper or our easy angle tool. Each of the colors is going to yield 6 half square triangles and just one of the large. All right, and with the cutting, I will be cutting the white for you. What you're going to do is from the very end, you're only going to take off a tiny little piece to get started, and then you're going to cut 4 2 7/8 strips, and that's going to yield 4 2 7/8 squares. Each of those squares get cut on the diagonal once. So whatever is remaining in your kit fabric, what I'd like you to do is take the end and fold it over and match up the sides. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut on that fold, and then you're going to cut it into 2 2.5 inch strips. That gets the most. I'm not sure exactly, how much is here. There's definitely what you need, but that'll get what you need, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the whites for you. The blue, the purple, the green, and the multifloral are all cut the same. The very first thing you're going to do is cut a nice clean edge and cut over 5 inches. And then we're going to use, you're going to cut that into a 4.5 inch rectangle, and we're going to use our folded corner clipper to get our large pieces of each one, just one. From the remainder, I want you to cut a 2.5 inch strip, and again, it doesn't matter the length of those, there's going to be plenty of fabric. All right, so come on over, let's do the white real quick. So what I'd like to show you is that I'm only going to cut a little piece of the white off. You can see that it's not even. So I'm just going to start with a nice even cut. And again, that's maybe 1/8 of an inch. Not very much, but I do have a nice straight line. So we're going to cut over 2 7/8. So again, watching very closely where we're at. 1 inch, 2 inch, and 7/8 is that little 1/8 inch before the 3. Okay. Now, you can cut 4 of these, which is what I would do. Or if you feel like you have enough fabric and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 inches. If you have 6 inches, you can get 2 7/8 inch squares out of it. If you don't, just continue to go down the line and cut your 2 7/8 again. And we're going to cut 4 of these. I mean, that is one way to kind of conserve fabric, but again, if you don't have the 6 inches, you probably won't quite make it, which is fine. We're going to go in this direction. So 2 7/8 4 times. Okay, and then from these, of course, I'm going to get my 2 7/8 inch squares. Or if you can get 2 out of 1, but I'm thinking you're just going to be able to get the 1. So what's left, what we're going to do is we're just going to fold it over until those ends meet. And we're just going to give it a nice little finger press. Okay, and then we're going to just cut this on the fold so we have half 2 equal pieces. Okay, once I have that, I can layer them on top of each other. They're the same size. And again, I need 2 2.5 inch strips. So here's 1. And again, I only take off a little bit just to straighten it up. And I'm going to measure over 2.5. And on this ruler, I have a 1/2 inch on one side, and then the full 1 inch. So this 2.5 mark going right down the side of my nice straight edge, and one more. So you're going to need 4 2.5 inch strips. And they should be roughly about 10 inches or so. And you can see this one, if I put it up to the edge, it definitely needs to be 10, but this one comes out to about 10 3/4. So you should have enough. Not enough to make a mistake, but certainly enough to go ahead and cut your kits. All right. So we'll just go, we have these. And the next thing I want to do is make sure I have my 2 7/8. And again, I can stack these all on top of each other and get my squares. Okay. Now if I can get 2, great, but I'm only going to try to get 1 because I know I have enough with the other strips. So 2 7/8. I'm just going to put this right up to the 1, 2, and again the 7/8 inch mark is right before the 3, all the way down and across here. Okay. Don't move it. And we're going to cut this on the diagonal once. All right. And then the colored fabrics are all pretty simple. I'm just going to lay these together, cut them all at the same time. So I'm only getting 2 sides, the end and the top, pretty close to each other, because that's where I'm going to start from. All right, so I'm going to cut, again, a nice little strip off the end to get started, and I'm going to measure over 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then this gets cut into a 4.5 inch piece. So again, one more time, I'm going to just clean this up. And I have all 4 pieces and 4.5 across. Half, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, making sure that my rectangle lines up along the square, straight down my 4.5. So here's my half, 1, 2, 3, 4.5, and straight across the bottom. All right, so with this, I'm going to go ahead and cut using either my easy angle or my corner clipper. I can place this right in this angle for 4.5 and cut so the blunt side is right at the top of my rectangle, the 4.5 is along the bottom, and my nice cut edge is along the side. I can go ahead, see I have a little bit extra, that was that 5 inches that I used, and I just need 1 of these. So I can throw this one away, and I'm left with my half square triangle. All right, these get cut into a 2.5 inch strip, so pretty simple. We'll just give that a cut, turn it around. You have plenty of fabric on this one to get your 2.5 inch strip. All right, so here's my half and 1, 2. And again, this is extra. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2.5 inch white, right sides together with a color. Going to get them right up at the end, right on top of each other. And we're going to use our corner clipper, and we need to cut 6 of these. So this end has not been trimmed yet, so look how much I have, just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch to trim on that side. The blunt edge is at the top of my strip, and the 2.5 marking is at the bottom. So we're going to start cutting our half square triangles. Again, right sides together. Okay, and we're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew it at a 1/4 of an inch. And that's what I've done with all of these. And I've sewn 6 of these. So for the purple, the blue, the multi, and the green, I've cut 5 here and 1 more here, so 6 in total. And we're just going to spin this around and cut another pair and 1 more. Just going to keep going, and I'll show you when you get to the end. You're going to have enough white that's going to be darn close. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 1 more. All right, so you have plenty of fabric in your kit. Just follow accordingly. This is what we have left of the multi, and this is what we have left of our white strip. So each 6 color white combinations get sewn into half square triangles, and which I've already done. All right, so the next thing we want to do is sew 2 of these in this direction and 3 of these in this direction, so that they're opposite. So 2 in this direction, 3 in this direction for each of the color sets. Okay, so that was pretty quick. And the next thing we want to do is with our 2 7/8 inch squares that we've cut on the diagonal, we're going to place our half. So this was our 2 7/8, and what we're going to do is we're just going to place them right here in the corners, and this 90 degree and this 90 degree get sewn together along here. All right, so let me go ahead and do that, and we're just going to finger press that while I do the other side. So once we have that, we'll go ahead and press that toward the triangle. And again, I'm just giving it a little bit of a finger press. And then we're going to put this one on. And again, this 90 degree corner here goes onto this 90. So it's a easy way to know that you're right in the middle. And we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch, and it's going to come right out of that little valley right there. So as I'm sewing these, I just want to make sure everybody understands that when you're working with half square triangles, there's a lot of bias, there's a lot of stretch, there's a lot of pull on the fabric. So what I do is I actually put my best press on these kit pieces twice, okay? I really tried to stabilize the pieces. So I sprayed the kit, I ironed them down, and then I sprayed them once again. So again, here's my finger press. Okay. And we're going to put these, let me give it a nice press here. You don't want to stretch it too much, just a little bit of heat. We're going to match it up with our half square triangle, and this should be pretty much the exact same size as our one underneath. So again, we're going to sew this at 1/4 of an inch, intersecting right at this X marks the spot. So right here. So this is our 1/4 of an inch. We're going to sew right, if I were going to err to either side, I would just run my thread on this side of it. All right, so let's do that. I like to sew with this side up because it's easier for me to see where that little intersection is. Actually, I take that back. I think I would rather have the thread just to the scant 1/4 inch. Needless to say, as close as you can to that intersection is where it's going to go. All right, so once we have these, we're going to press it toward the colored fabric and give that a nice pressing, okay? Once we have these, we can go ahead and start assembling our block. So, we're going to start with this, and we're going to add our 2 to the bottom. And once those are done, we're going to add our 3 to the side. So let's go ahead and do that. When I sewed these 2 together, I pressed toward the color fabric on this seam, not the white, but I pressed toward the color fabric. And on these, I pressed these 2 seams out. So as you can see, this one goes to the top and this one goes to the bottom. And that's going to help you match this intersection right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And again, when I put this one on here, I have this little 1/4 of an inch right where my point comes out, and I want to make sure that I have a nice accurate 1/4 of an inch seam. All right, let's try one more time. And this one's going to get pressed. So since this is where all my fabric is, I'm going to go ahead and press it toward the multi. In each case, the colored fabrics. And again, just hold it and make sure it has a good press. We don't want to move our iron too much because it'll distort and stretch out. All right. And then the last piece to put on is the 3 that are here. And again, this is good. This has no place to match. This just has to match right up into the corner. But when you get down to here, we have one seam going down and this seam going up. And if you'd like, you could always take a pin and put it into this point of the triangle and that point of that triangle, just so you know where to have your needle land. Okay, so I'll just take this and I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine. I'll pull that pin out right when I get to it. So here's my pin. And here's my intersection. I know these 2 are on top of each other. So as I get to it, I just want to replace it with where the needle is. And then I'm just going to continue sewing out to the end. Okay. So these are 6.5 inch pieces. And they will finish at 6 inch. A little bit of heat there, a little bit of heat here, and there's our block. Okay, so we're going to repeat that for the purple, the green, and the blue. All right, and this is where I had a little fun turning the pieces to see which way I wanted to place them. It's up to you. I had them all going in the same direction, but again, it's completely your call. Right? So when we're going to put our 2 together and then sew it straight across. All right. Just one other thing I want to mention. It is October. We're getting close to the end of the year, getting closer to the holidays. And so with the holidays approaching, now is a good time to come in and fill out your wish list. This wish box contains index cards, and all you need to do is put your name on an index card, walk around the store, put down things that you wish your significant other would pick up for you for the holidays, and just send them in. We'll pick up your card, and they'll be able to pick up exactly what you're looking for. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month.